a little bit. I've actually owned my own childcare centres for organisations looking at childcare centres, but I also used to assist childcare centres with occupancy and things like that. So my background actually is marketing. So I do high-end marketing for aged care and childcare centres. Went into the NDIS, very passionate. My background's also vocational education and training. So have been around the TAFE sector, I have been around the registered training organisation sector, mainly in the area of early childhood, disability, diploma of community services, and mainly our healthcare related course. So that's a little bit of background on myself. I'm also affiliated with quite a number of childcare centres as well, where I've been assisting them with occupancy support. So that's the latest sort of projects that I've been working on. I hold 3 businesses of my own. I also have my own employment agency as well, so I do recruit for childcare. I actually recruit for childcare trained educators. I think I have come from the level of training and understanding what the industry needs. I've been on TV channels before. I've actually represented aged care corporate marketing. So that's just a bit of a background on sort of where I've sat in my roles. NDIS, can I just tell you guys, wow, okay, $22 billion industry, wow. Now, a number of childcare centres were contacted. We actually started our marketing campaign because I said to my team, do you know what, I used to be a childcare director. I left there because I just felt there wasn't enough support with, you know, directors are sort of out there trying to find things themselves. And one of the things I said to them is we really need to go out there and tell childcare owners, teachers, educators about the NDIS. Because how much do you guys know actually about NDIS? Okay, so my job today is, I'm also an NDIS provider, just so you know. My job today is to talk you through what is NDIS, where can you benefit as a business. Now, I'm looking at business as well as what you can do in the future for your organisation. As childcare owners, educators, we need to look at our competing market, and childcare is very competitive now, as we all know, right? There's always the next childcare that's been built around the corner. Right across from my house, another childcare centre's been built. That's like 8 in the vicinity of like a very small area. Okay, and it's like, where are people going to put their children? There is definitely a demand. When we look at the NDIS, National Disability Insurance Scheme, so the government has pumped $22 billion into this industry. And people are actually saying, oh, we didn't know it's for childcare. Guess what? There is so much in there for childcare that it's not funny. So I'm going to take you through it and where you can benefit your business. National Disability Insurance Scheme. So the government has pumped $22 billion into this industry. And people are actually saying, oh, we didn't know it's for childcare. Guess what? There is so much in there for childcare that it's not funny. So I'm going to take you through it and where you can benefit your business. Okay, what is early childhood or early intervention? Okay, so this is for you guys. Now, I'm going to email you all out a copy as well, but if you want to make notes, you're most welcome. Everyone's going to get a lovely email pack. That's why I just want everyone's details in the system. So the NDIS has basically rolled out the early childhood, early intervention, which is 0 to 6 years to 7 years old, okay? So basically this is about assisting children with developmental delay and disabilities, okay? Now I can tell you, as being in the childcare industry, you will come across many children that have developmental delays or disabilities, yes? Now, the government has actually said we need to create funding mechanisms for these children where they can get support, which is fantastic. Because at the moment, either the parent has to have the burden of all the payments and or the centre. So, what they're actually doing is we've got something called Early Childhood Education Partners, who is basically the point of contact for carers and families. And what they basically do is they support them in the system. So let's say if you're an NDIS registered centre, the early childhood partners actually have a pool of children where they don't have NDIS registered centres, where they will say, oh, I've got Karen from Muralbark, I'm actually going to put the child here. Can you cater for this child? So it's almost like linking them to the system as well. So that's what an early childhood partner actually does, and they provide a lot of support through the system as well. Okay, so they can also assist with occupancy. Can I just say, okay, that's fantastic, okay, that there's not many that have occupancy issues, but I can tell you that can change in a month, that can change in a week, that can change in a day. Because childcare is so easy to remove your child and go, oh, I'll just go to that centre, it looks a bit better, or I've got a friend that goes there, let's all go there. It's very easy. So what do you need to think of is you need to look at protecting your business and looking at where am I going to be unique? What are your unique selling points? You all have unique selling points at the moment, but imagine if you were NDIS registered. If you have that plastered all over your centre and on your marketing material, that is huge. That means a parent that has a child with a disability will actually be looking for you. They'll be looking for NDIS registered centres. Okay, how does funding work? This is the big question that we actually need to look at, okay? How does it actually work? Now, we got plastered about the $50,000 a month. Now, Next Level Consulting has been working in the childcare space with owners and has actually seen and grown centres to actually receiving $50,000 a month. Now, that is dependent on the amount of children and their disability, okay? So if you have a child that's coming in, we had 4 kids that came in. If they've got different disabilities, you can actually look at that figure coming in a month, okay? I'm going to show you how you can actually get to that. What are the steps you need to take? Now, this is also based on the children's disability, so it can fluctuate. The more severe the disability, or the more that they're actually attached, their plans attached to funding, will be dependent on that. But we have actually seen a lot of children get a lot of funding due to their developmental delays. That seems to be a very key area now that's been funded a lot. Roger, you had a child that was attached to what, $900,000?
Yep, in South Australia. So it requires 24-hour care, pretty much life support.
Yeah, 24 hours care was on $900,000, this child. $900,000 a year. Okay? So that would be more severe, and then we've had autism at $450 a year.
Yeah.
So looking at different disability, yeah, it's wow, isn't it? $450,000 a year. So what actually happens is you can be attached to that. So this is big stuff that the government's looking at. But like I said, it depends on the child, the disability, and also when they go for their assessment. So what actually happens is no one can say, you can't diagnose someone with a disability, can you? No. Correct. So what happens is they actually need to be assessed prior. So they will get assessed. And what they will have is something called an NDIS support plan. Okay? So in the support plan, it will basically outline what support they require. So it will say diagnosis is autism, and this is what they require. They need additional time when they're reading. They need additional sleep time. All these extra information will be popped into the support plan, and a dollar figure be attached. Okay? Now, why is the dollar figure attached? For you to actually organise those supports for the child. Let's say it needs special aids or a special learning teacher that needs to spend extra time with them to learn their early years learning framework, or something additional that they need with playtime. Okay? So what actually happens is you will outsource these pool of people, and then you will actually gain the funding for it. So this is a separate support plan that's based on the child and their needs, and you get that funding if you're the NDIS registered provider. You have to be the provider. That's where you will get the funding for it. Okay, so this is actually a story that we're going to send to you guys as well, that I want you guys to read, because it's a good digestion as well in terms of where there is support for providers. So you can actually look at submitting bulk payments as well. So we know that childcare has a lot of overheads, and let's say that you need to provide X amount for that child. You actually have via your app, okay, when I say app, your portal, you will be able to submit bulk payment requests for that child as well. So that's why we end up with 50 grand a month, because they're bulk payments that we've got. Yeah? So you can see the money sort of adds up there. But that one's going to be sent to you because I wanted you guys to see. Now let's talk money, funding and support. Winnie the Pooh's having a little dance there with the money going around. Okay, so let's have a look here. So we've got specialised individual therapy for early childhood pays, $178.98 per hour. You've got training for carers and parents. So you want to provide training for carers and parents? $56.14. How much support do we actually provide to our carers, educators, parents even? A lot, don't we? Yeah? You can actually claim for that child attached to the plan, yeah? Specialist behavioural intervention support. This is a very, very big one. They're actually looking a lot into behavioural support for children, because it's an area that is really not tapped into fully. I actually used to specialise in behavioural intervention support for aged care, and I used to look at psychotropic medication and things like that. And then I actually had a look at childcare and how their intervention works in terms of behavioural intervention support. This is an area you can actually work really hard and make yourself very unique in. Okay, behavioural support. Why does a child act a certain way? Why does this trigger a child? We really need to actually become that child at that stage that it's occurring, and walk in their shoes and live that behavioural experience. Yeah? Individual skills development and training. So, you know, they need additional time for life skills, eating, even, you know, putting on their shoes, you know, they've finished nap time, putting their little bed away. Those type of things we'll be looking at individual skills development and training. Individual assessment and support by a nurse. Let's say that's more complex needs. Okay, if there's some medical conditions involved with the child that actually need to have nurse support, that needs to come in and have a look at that, and that's at $95.77. So looking at the funding and support, just taking a real good snapshot of that, what could you say in one word? Childcare is well funded, is well supported. So this is actually very, very good if you put things in place properly. Preschools, childcare centres, family daycare centres, kindergartens, before and after school hours,
Long daycare.
camps, long daycare, all being registered. Because you provide this support anyway. So why not get funding for it and make yourself unique? Wouldn't it be lovely to have a little area in your centre or your, to say where we can actually cater for children with disabilities? There's so many children even out there just with developmental delays. I know when I owned my childcare centre, we didn't actually have NDIS back then, and we had kids with disabilities. And I can just remember, and I guess this is where my passions come. I think we're doing this. Why do you think they need to be registered? Obviously, we want to make sure they're professionals working with children, not like, oh, my auntie, she's good at art therapy, so I'll grab her in. No, we need to work away from this, and we need to work towards professional, because this is how we can assist a child with a disability properly, okay? Because you're appropriately trained. So if you have a music therapist, an art therapist, a social worker, even physiotherapies that we've had walking to childcare centres, a teacher registered with the Victorian Institute of Teaching or equivalent, developmental educators. So they actually need to have proof of membership and registration. They can't be like, I think I'm a good teacher, I'll become a teacher and just walk into a childcare centre. Can't do that, okay? So that's why we have professionals. It's just like going to the doctor. Why do we go to a doctor? Otherwise we could just go to a friend and go, can you prescribe me some antibiotics? No, it doesn't work like that, yeah? So we need to make sure we have all the qualifications and the memberships covered in terms of these. And there is more, and we'll be sending you this email update as well, okay? So that you guys now have the latest information with what you actually need to access. And when you're working with professionals as well, you know, and you have a level of expectation, which is what's going to be delivered. We know in centres how busy it is. You don't have a minute sometimes to even eat lunch yourself. Yeah? So having people to come in and support, and when you put your plan together and you say, okay, 10 o'clock, the music therapist is going to come, at 11 o'clock, this is what's going to happen, you will know what's happening. And also by planning, you're also planning for your funding as well. So you're saying 2 hours has been spent here, and that's the information that I need to put in the portal to make sure that I claim for the child. Yeah? So what happens is, and I'll talk you through the whole process, okay, I'm just going step by step, and then I'll show you how do you access that funding. So when you actually register to become an NDIS provider, part of the registration process is getting a PRODA, a registration account via the portal, okay? So you will get a portal ID, so it'll say Kim from Jellybean Childcare Centre, okay? And that portal I own, okay? And what happens is, every time a child comes in, or let's say I've got these 4 kids I'm caring for at the moment, I'll actually go and enter their information in via the portal, and that's how I send my claim, so I get paid for. So I'll say 2 hours I spent, we got an art therapist in to give them extra additional time for this child because that's what they require, and you would actually put that through the system and that would be claimed, okay? So what you can do is you can do claims on a weekly basis, however you like to align yourself with your payments and how you're actually providing that support. So some people do weekly, some people do fortnightly. It sort of depends on every person's model of how they like to be funded. So you are the owner of your portal, and that portal, basically, you have registrations per child. So it might say, you know, XYZ. So with XYZ, this is a support plan that's attached. And you enter that into your portal, and that's how much money you have. So let's say I've got $100,000 attached to this child, and today I've used $600. So it'll be $100,000 minus the $600, because it goes off like that. So you make sure that you, as per, you know, childcare people are great at planning. You're planning, you know, the child and the developmental, how you're going to strengthen that child, and you can work with the early childhood partners, and you can work with the parents and actually say, this is the plan that we have in place for your child, and these are the support and allied health that we've actually got coming in, and I'll talk you through that in a moment as well. Yeah? Is everyone good with that? So it's about the registration process, and I'll talk you through that next in a moment. Okay, now we are looking at what do we provide. So people say, oh my God, what do I have to do? How do I become an NDIS provider? And it is daunting when you look at it, but it actually isn't. It's actually quite simple. So what happens is there's a registration process, okay? So what happens is you complete a contract agreement and you also complete a registration form. So basically what it outlines is this is the support that I can have at my centre. So it's about you saying this is what I'd like. Obviously you will tick things that you know you're comfortable with. You don't just tick everything, yeah? But we can also consult with you based on like if you're a long daycare or if you're family daycare, it'll alter slightly. Then what actually happens is we will give you provider scope upgrade. Now I have to add this in. 1st of July is fast approaching and the rules and legislation are changing, and that's why we're going on what we call our 15-day NDIS tour. That's what me and my team are doing for 15 days. What we're doing is we are trying to obviously save you money as well, save you time. But by the 1st of July, if you register after that period of time, you will need to sit an audit. The audit will cost you money there. So we're looking at what, 12 to 15,000 is a minimum.
Can be more.
Can be more. We can't basically quote on that, but bare minimum is about 12. And you will need to sit that audit prior to registration. If you do it by now, before the 1st of July, you don't need to sit that audit. Okay? You will be sitting it. You know why? Anything that has funding attached to it, you always need to sit an audit, as we know. And you know what? I think you all are so well experienced with audits anyway, being in childcare. Yeah? You will need to do it later on, absolutely. Anything that has money attached to it is the word audit's written all over it. Tailored policies and procedures. So you're going to get a suite of policies and procedures that's going to be on a USB stick and also printed out in a folder for you, okay? So it has all the compliance documents, all the self-assessment, all the handbooks, all the audit preparation checklists, all the guides, all the compliance documents. And I can tell you there's a lot of compliance work. We have a team of consultants that are working day in, day out, and they are working on each individual person. We're putting through hundreds at the moment, and they will actually contact you and say, we're sending you through this, can you have a look? And basically all have been approved. We've had a 99% success rate of approvals. There's only a 1% basically because someone lied on their contract. So you need to make sure you give full details, you disclose all the full information. Obviously we need a working with children's check. So there will be, what happens is, you have to submit ID with your registration. Basically all you need to do is sign 2 forms, provide your IDs and your qualifications, and that's it. Next level, take everything off your hands and look after it. And then we get you that registration. Then we will say, guess what, Karen, you're approved and this is your portal ID. You get everything in email and you're ready to go. You're actually a registered NDIS provider. So you'll actually get a letter as well and you'll get a certificate saying I'm a registered NDIS provider, okay? And then you're able to mark it and put the NDIS logo on all your materials, on your childcare centre, however you like to display it, and that's when you can actually take children in and provide that support as per once you get registered. Now, got the okay today from the boss to actually say that originally was $8,800 for the whole registration, your compliance, basically you're ready to rock. But today the boss was feeling kind and they were looking at doing a end of financial year reduction, and this is going to the lowest. We've done a price comparison to look at 15 to 20,000 is what consultants are out there charging. We want to be community-based people. I know how hard it is, and I know, how hard we all work to get to certain places. So we have done an absolute special before the 1st of July. We're going to 6,600. And that includes absolutely everything. You become an NDIS provider. Imagine putting that out there. Imagine looking at the funding. Imagine getting the people in. Imagine where you can actually take your business. Now, don't think now my business is fine. Okay? Don't think now everything is going okay, because businesses trip very quickly. And especially in this day and age, there's so much competition out there. There's so many different things that are out there that businesses can change their health check immediately. So you can actually take your business to the next level, for 6,600, okay? The process usually takes 3 to 4 weeks to actually get approved. We've had approvals done quicker, but we can't say the word guarantee on the time frame. It also depends on the department, how quick they approve. But the quicker you go in and you look at registration, the quicker we can actually process that documentation. Thank you.